Wondering how homeschoolers earn scholarships for college? Let me explain. My name is Binz, and I'm the homescholar. And my mission is to help parents homeschool high school, and that includes helping you find scholarships that can allow your child to graduate college debt free. Let's talk about all of the different strategies that you can use. Sometimes people think homeschool scholarships are something that you apply to during senior year. But it's not. It's actually a giant group of concepts that you learn about all throughout high school so that you can pull it together junior year and make your student look very attractive for scholarships. So let's start by understanding that college can be affordable, that even now your child can graduate debt free, even if your child is, normal. Okay. A 4-year degree can actually cost less at a university than homeschooling college or doing community college and then going to the university. Having a college degree can cost the same whether your child goes to a public university or a private Christian university. It's true. So you want to find some of those keys to scholarships, and that's what I wanted to talk to you about today. The amount of time that you spend researching this process can result in huge dividends for you, gigantic scholarships that will completely defray much of the cost of college. When I was homeschooling, the thoughts about scholarships took up a huge chunk of my time because I was a homeschool parent. We were a single income family. And even though we did have modest savings, I knew it wasn't even going to come close to what we needed with, our 2 children who were college bound. And so we had to do some creative thinking about scholarships. And I wanted to explain to you what I've learned. So basically, there are 3 different kinds of college scholarships. They're completely different from one another. The first kind is need-based scholarships. And those are the ones that are based on income, lower income, bigger scholarships. Okay. And financial aid is calculated in part by the federal government, but it's usually the college and the federal government together that are giving you money if you need-based scholarships. Now, remember, that's just one of the 3 ways. So even if you don't have any financial need, you still can get scholarships. And also the amount of income that they think of to provide need-based scholarships can be pretty generous. So you may feel like you're not going to get money, but then you might actually get money after all. So you want to make sure you learn about the FAFSA, FAFSA. It is a form you fill out in October of 12th grade. And I do have free information on the FAFSA in my article on scholarships. The second kind of scholarships. These are private scholarships that are given from companies. So when you hear about so many scholarships that were unused, this is usually the one that you're thinking about. It's a private scholarship given by a company to a student so that they can take that money to college and pay for college that way. I worked very hard with my students to apply for a gazillion private scholarships. And while we were working hard at it, and my kids were very diligent and excellent writers, even so, it wasn't a huge payoff for us. It was enough to pay for books and fees for a year, but it wasn't like we, ding, 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 won the lottery. And it's hard work. The third kind of scholarships are merit scholarships. You don't have merit just because you have a perfect SAT score. Merit scholarships means whatever is awesome about your child, finding somebody who's going to give you a college scholarship because of what's awesome about your child. So sometimes merit scholarships are tied to SAT or ACT scores or your child's GPA. which is why it's really important that your transcript has a GPA on it, and why it's important for your child to study for the SAT tests. Now, these merit-based scholarships are usually divvied out by the college, and you don't have to be comparing your child to the smartest homeschooler you know. You look at the statistics of the college where your student wants to go. That's how they determine who earns those merit scholarships. Now, merit scholarships really are the way that my children got the big bucks for college. And both of my children won full tuition scholarships to their first choice university through merit scholarships. And I love them dearly, but they are sweet, ordinary, lovable nerds, and they still got full tuition scholarships. So let's talk about, how do you earn merit-based scholarships? There's basically 9 tips. I like to call them 9 college coupons. You know, when you're a homeschooler and you clip those newspaper or digital coupons all the time, and you're trying to save 50 cents here or $1 there, it's sort of like that with merit scholarships. It's like you're trying to do as many small things as you can in order to help your child be set up for these merit scholarships. So let's talk about what those coupons are. The first college coupon is a rigorous academic education. And that means that you're trying to provide an actual education for your children. Education wins the day, people. If all you can do is focus on your child's education, you are winner, winner, chicken dinner, okay? It's going to be making the difference between having your child earn scholarships or not. The second thing is to have a professional and accurate homeschool transcript. You want to have proof of this excellent academic preparation with a professional and easy to read transcript. Some colleges have a very short amount of time, 2 minutes, 3 minutes to read a transcript. And you want that to be so well written, so easy to read, that they immediately know whether your child is qualified and ready for scholarships and has everything that they need. And that's why you want to have it ready to go. The third thing is to create thorough course descriptions for each and every one of your classes. Once a college has seen that the child is qualified, they may want to know, how did you teach science? How did you teach foreign language? And having course descriptions can allow them to check the academic rigor inside of each class. Now, sometimes people say, why don't they ask for that from public school kids? Well, they do. They just don't ask the parent for it. They go to the school and ask them for it. So we are just doing what other schools do, and that's providing course descriptions. Okay, the fourth college coupon is to provide the best possible test scores that your child can possibly manage. So to do that, first, you choose the best test for them. You know, about 1/3 of the kids do better on the SAT, and about 1/3 of the kids do better on the ACT, and you don't know which third your child is, right? Give your child a sample test at home, and then have them study consistently throughout junior year until they take that test. Many parents will encourage them to study for 10th grade as well for the test that's a best fit for them. And as you're thinking about getting the best possible test scores, you might want to consider getting SAT subject test or AP or CLEP. These subject tests can demonstrate more than an SAT or ACT. Having a subject test shows that your child knows enough American history, or knows enough Latin or French, or knows enough music theory. And that can be helpful too as you're proving their education across the board. Number 5, genuine activities and volunteer work. Not forced volunteer work, which is not volunteer work at all. Actually, that always cracks me up how some high schools will require something that's supposed to be voluntary. But instead, you want to have genuine activities that the teenager is actually interested in, that they actually like doing, and that goes a long way in college admission. Number 6 is to have meaningful college visits, because they want to know, the college wants to know that if you are offered admission, your child is actually going to go to that college. If you've never visited there, why would they think you would ever go to that college if offered admission? You'd probably choose a different college, one that you were more familiar with. So the more that your child has visited, the more likely you are to get scholarships. You want to convince the college of your genuine interest in them by visiting each university. Number 7, this is so important. Timely completion of admission forms. My financial advisor, he confessed to me one time that his daughter had missed on a full tuition scholarship because she was a day late on filling out her application. And that can happen to you. And no matter how awesome your child, if you miss the deadline, you could totally miss the scholarships. You want to be first in line for scholarships. And so I'll tell you what that means. If possible, as much as possible, beat every deadline by 1 full month. Okay. The earlier you apply, the more likely the person who is looking at your application is rested and relaxed and is not overwhelmed. And so they're more likely to look favorably upon you if you have submitted everything early. Number 8, great letters of recommendation. Those letters of recommendation need to be from somebody who knows your child well, who writes well, and who is sending this letter of recommendation directly to the college without you seeing it first. That's how you get the best possible letter of recommendation. As far as the source, it doesn't usually have to be a teacher. It can be a pastor, a friend who knows that you homeschool. You just want to make sure that they know your child well and can write well. And number 9 is to have perfect application essays, which sounds awesome until you realize that these have to be written by teenagers. So a perfect college application essay is self-reflective and technically perfect, and it's a first-person descriptive essay. Now, if you take apart all of those words, that can be pretty scary to a teenager. I know that my 2 teenagers were both boys, and they were not self-reflective in any way, although they were technically perfect. They did very well at the actual writing portion. But writing a self-descriptive essay, that was really difficult for them. Now, the essay prompt will be given to you by the college, so they tell you what to write about. And to teenagers who are anxious, let me just explain one thing. Whatever they ask you to write about, you know the topic. You completely understand the topic. So at least, if nothing else, you'll be writing things that you know about. So homeschoolers earn scholarships in part by being prepared and in part by creating great records. You know, as the homeschool parent, you cannot force your child to write well. You can't force them to interview well. You can't make sure or enforce that they're going to get great test scores, but you have total control over their homeschool records. And that's one of the reasons why I emphasize keeping course descriptions as a homeschooler, because it is the one piece of scholarship material that you have the most control over. So let me finish up by giving you 3 of my biggest tips for homeschool scholarships. Number 1, this is probably going to come as a surprise. Apply to college during the first month of senior year. Yeah, I know, right? It's weird because when our children take an online class or go to co-op, it's like a couple of months before you apply to get into this class, and they always say yes, right? They just want your money. They always say yes. College isn't like that. You're basically applying a full year before you want to go. So check the due dates. Whatever the due date is, you beat the due date by at least a month. But generally speaking, you want to apply during the first month or 2 of senior year, and that alone can make a huge difference. Second tip, again, this is going to be a surprise. You want to apply to 4 to 8 universities. That's 4, 5, 6, 7, or 8 universities is where you're applying. You want to have a mix of both public and private universities. You want to have visited each college like we talked about, but applying to 4 to 8 seems to be the sweet spot in getting college scholarships. The more you need scholarships, the more you want to apply for 8 colleges instead of 4. If the first 4 colleges that you apply to don't have a full tuition, and then the 5th one does, you're going to be very, very thankful that you applied to more. Think about it this way. Your goal is not just to get your child into college. Your goal is to get college paid for so that they can actually attend, right? You want to make sure they can actually go. And that means that you're applying to more than just their first or second choice college, that you have at least 4 colleges that you've applied to. A quick reminder, I mentioned this up top, but a public university and a private university, when all is said and done, they're usually about the same cost. A public university has no scholarship money to give away. Their income is tied to the state government. And so public universities don't give generally very big scholarships. A private university is funded by people like Bill Gates. They have tons of money to give away. And so you're more likely to get big, big, big scholarships at a private university. And so for your average child, public university and private university is the same cost. Okay, tip number 3. Apply to reach, fit, and safety colleges. A reach college is where your child might be qualified. They probably have what is needed. A reach school is always Ivy League. Ivy League is always a reach school for everyone, no matter how wealthy or smart or gifted your child is. It's always a reach for everyone. And then you want to have a fit school. This is where your child is academically at exactly on par with everyone else who is attending that college. So you'll know because your ACT or SAT scores are about the same as what the average student at that school. And then you want to apply for a safety school. At a safety school, your child is going to be one of the top students that they see that year. You're more likely to get scholarships there as well for that reason, because you're the head honcho, you're the number one, you're the big fish in the small pond, right? So that can be really helpful to apply for safety schools. If you're concerned about having a very gifted child be very successful at a safety school, make sure you're looking for a safety school that has perhaps a gifted program or an honors program within the university, and that can usually bring it up to the level of even the most gifted child. So make sure that you have reach, fit, and safety. Now, scholarships do come in waves. They don't come in all at once. Usually the first wave is related to the SAT or ACT, and the second wave is usually related to the FAFSA. And the third wave is usually related to merit. And that's one of the scariest times, I think, is the middle of winter, senior year, where you've already heard your child is going to get in to college, but you don't yet know how you're going to pay for it. So that can be a super scary time. And I just want to encourage you not to lose hope, because scholarships rarely arrive when it's convenient. They usually show up when you feel like all hope has been lost. So hang in there. And there are methods that you can use that I teach people to increase their scholarship earnings even over time, even after you've admitted. So I hope that that has explained some scholarship information to you and that you found it encouraging. When people say that, so many scholarships go unused every year, that is true. But most scholarships are you learning what is involved, providing that to the colleges. It's not something that you just apply to. It's something that you understand and implement. And that means using all of those college coupons that we talked about. Now, remember, on the article, you will find a free ebook on the FAFSA. The FAFSA, again, is FAFSA. Okay. And that's going to help you get need-based scholarships. So make sure you download that free book. I hope you get mounds of college cash and that your children can graduate debt-free. Have a great day.